Good morning and welcome CityMakers. My name is Katja Lindroos and I am the co-founder of Nordic CityMaking Week. Let me introduce what we are going to do today. Welcome CityMakers is the introduction to the second edition of Nordic CityMaking Week. This year, Nordic CityMaking Week takes place in November, but also today we will have several special sessions. I will tell about them a little bit later. Nordic CityMaking is about connecting citymakers across countries, cities and communities. With the participants of last year's festival, we co-created the manifesto for the movement. It is now the inspiration for this year's theme, Common Ground, Common Place. Nordic CityMaking Week is made in collaboration. We are happy to share that 3 cities are joining this year. City of Turku and the City of Vantaa as hosting cities and the City of Helsinki as partner city. The main partner is NCC, one of the leading construction companies in the Nordics. And among the content partners are Hanaholmen, Aalto University, embassies, cultural institutes, numerous NGOs and activists. Thank you all for enabling this movement and festival. So let's go and meet the first hosting city, the City of Vantaa.
I think the problems are so big and they have so many connections to all fields of science and art and social things. And it is not possible anymore to be like a genius architect or city planner who knows everything. But we need really to learn from each other, and we have also to learn to plan and design together. And I think that's a very important thing. We have Aviapolis, which is near the airport, and it really has possibilities to become one of the most exciting airport cities. Then we have this old suburb, Myyrmäki, and it is a place, it is started to be built on the 60s, and still it has a very good location in the local traffic network. And it has a lot of empty places there where we can build and support its characteristics. We are not in the spotlight, so people maybe don't know so much about us, but that is just the thing. We have news for everybody. Come to see what we are doing. We are doing so many things.
Thank you, Tarja, Laine and the City of Vantaa. Before we go to the next cities, let me tell a little bit what kind of festival Nordic CityMaking Week is. Nordic CityMaking Week is a conference without walls. When we started in early 2020, we asked ourselves, how could we make an event where participants are not only discussing cities, but also actively interact with the cities? How could we make a festival where topics of discussion connect to real life on-the-ground projects, urgencies and opportunities? To do this, we are inviting international urban experts to interact directly with local actors. And we hope that this can create ground for sharing, learning and working together, so that this festival can work as a catalyst for new shared initiatives. We also hope to inspire students of urban studies and other future city makers to join. So, who are our invited guests, keynote speakers and other urban experts? In this session, we will introduce some of them. We have asked them to share what they find inspiring and important in their cities right now. And we'll start by talking with Camilla van Deurs from the city of Copenhagen. As a city architect, her ambition is to enable the Copenhageners to have a stronger voice in the city. What has she learned about how to involve citizens?
The response that I've been hearing, or that the Copenhagen Talk project sort of unraveled, was that people were feeling that they were heard too late in the process.
Yeah.
They were heard when there had been an architectural competition, when the politicians had decided the project already, and it was sent to public hearing.
Yeah.
And at that point, it was very, very difficult always to do something.
Yeah.
And so that was really the main point, like how do we move the dialogue up front and help Copenhageners who are the experts in their own lives and the city, and how the city should support that. How do we help or engage them in writing the program, addressing the problems that we should answer? So I think kind of inverting that has really been what we've been trying to do with the Citizen Assembly and with all of these like pilot projects that we do. But often, turning that around is also exposing yourself to a little bit of vulnerability. And that's something that we have to work with, and that we are working with as a municipality, to say, we are going to get some of this wrong. Some of these pilot projects are not going to be perfect, but that's okay, because that's part of the process of co-creating this. But we are setting a stage for discussion.
Yeah. Next, we head to the other hosting city of this year, the city of Turku. We will meet the Director of Urban Planning, Timo Hintsanen.
Special feature in Turku is the contact with the water, the river, the sea and the archipelago. That's amazing. And of course, today's Turku is a combination of history, nature and dynamic growth. That makes it very exciting, and the change is quite rapid at the moment. It's the part of the city center. It's on the eastern part of the center. And we define the Science Park as the area where the universities, hospital campus, business area and the further development is situated. And we have an enormous possibility for growth there. There is a brownfield area connecting that area, and it has possibility for 1 million square meters to build new development, and it is certainly a very interesting part of the city. This used to be a dock area of Turku, and today it's changing quite rapidly. There will be a great opportunity around the historical castle. At the moment there are several passenger terminals, but we are going to build one single terminal for all companies to use. That makes a huge opportunity to develop the urban structure towards the sea. And we expect to have a maritime area with restaurants and possibilities to visit archipelago and feel the atmosphere of the sea. That is something different. Today's Turku is in a way a city of a river, but we want it to be the city of sea as well. I have noticed that the problems and the challenges that cities are facing are quite similar all over Northern Europe. So it's very interesting to discuss about these things. And of course, for example, what might be the permanent effect of pandemic in the future of cities, how to live, how to spend time, how to arrange public spaces and how to work in the cities. I'm sure we are going to have inspiring discussions and experience of what we are doing in different places.
Helsinki joins this year as a partner city. In Helsinki, we will explore the area of Vaalila, which is currently going through an extensive change and becoming one of the most exciting creative hubs of the city. Before I introduce the next international guests, I will share a bit how we collaborate with other urban festivals and networks. There are many great events and initiatives in Europe and all around the world that inspire us. Since our start last year, we have worked with several international city-making networks. This year, we will co-create a new tool, a city-making index. You can read more about it on our website. One of these networks is Placemaking Europe, a growing movement that puts people and public space at the core of urbanity. We have invited Ramón Marrades and Charlot Schans to tell about their new initiative, the AfterCovid.City conference.
AfterCovid.City is an initiative by Placemaking Europe, and the main reason that we are doing that is that because we were very convinced that public space should play an extremely important role on recovery after COVID. And we were also thinking that placemaking tools could work very well in that process. So this is this sort of like these two main reasons that obviously are interrelated. We saw, and we've shown in this previous crisis, that we have the tendency to face recovery, social, economic, and territorial recovery in a really macro and infrastructure-led perspective. And we really thought that something was missing there, that the debate could not only be addressed to build windmills and solar plants and train lines and so on and so forth, but the role of people and places should be present in that debate. Because we needed to go back to public space, we needed to go back to be together in cities after the pandemic, of course, but also because of the other reason, because we really believe that what placemaking could offer, the tools of placemaking, could be very, very useful to help the society to recover after that. And then we are talking about diversity, about economic development, but also about health, about mental health as well, about sustainability, and so on and so forth. So we really wanted to be present in that debate. That's what we created AfterCovid.City as an umbrella initiative for different reflections. And one of the main things that we are organizing under that umbrella is our conference, Superilla Barcelona, the AfterCovid.City, to have a sort of reflection together to the city of Barcelona about precisely that, which would be the role of people and places for recovery after COVID.
Exactly, and we are very happy to join also that session, and let's see how we can indeed bring the conversation also to the following Nordic Citymaking Week right after that. Charlot, we know each other very much from the context of Placemaking Europe and this whole fantastic movement that has been indeed expanding all around the world. So can you give a little bit of a short introduction to it to the people who might not know so much about Placemaking Europe yet? How is it organized and what are your goals?
Of course, yeah. Thank you so much, Katja, for having us at Nordic Citymaking Week. Excited to be here. So my name is Charlotte. I'm together with Ramón, the co-director of Placemaking Europe. And Placemaking Europe is a network of about 4,000 professionals from 30 different European countries that actually come together with two main goals. One of them is sort of the knowledge exchange between them and kind of professionalizing the emerging field of placemaking, because I think that the word is renowned, but the profession is still very much in the making. So that's also where we do knowledge exchange. We do a lot of let's say we create the tools and we disseminate the tools and we create lots of resources for placemaking to learn, for placemakers to learn from each other and also to contribute to the growth of the field. And on the other hand, we also have the very strong ambition to scale up the ambitions we have within the placemaking field. So many of the people that we know and that we work with, they have been pioneering in the field, but we feel that together as a movement, we can really scale up these efforts. And also convince more like the systemic change happening in cities. And that's also where we have our different partnerships with municipalities across Europe that allow us to think about more the citywide strategies in terms of placemaking, because placemaking can be really about the human skill aspects of this one particular square and the co-creation that we do there. But we see more and more that these co-creative aspects are actually central to also in Nordic City Making Week, right? The collective, the collaborative city making that we do can be very central to the urban strategies that we create. So there's a lot of like learning from the placemaking field towards what's the strategic field of city making could be like.
During Nordic City Making Week in November, we will visit several community-driven places and local hubs. One of them is Myyrmäki-liike. This place is created and run entirely by Myyrmäki-liike, a movement of active residents living in the neighborhood of Myyrmäki in Vantaa. Myyrmäki-liike combines temporary use, co-working spaces, different forms of urban culture, local entrepreneurship, and grassroots activism. We visited this community space just shortly it had moved to a new location. Petteri Niskanen, the dynamo of Myyrmäki-liike, shows us around.
Perhaps I can sit here if you ask me something, because there is. We are now in Myyrmäki-liike. Myyrmäki-liike is a community and cultural house in Myyrmäki, and Myyrmäki is a 50 years old suburban area in Vantaa. Myyrmäki-liike has been 3 years at CityMaking, but this summer we moved here at Myyrin Puhos, and we have here almost whole building, 4 floors, and about little bit more than 3,000 square meters space here. And in Myyrmäki-liike now we have about little bit over 60 rentals, cultural organizations and cultural enterprises and artists. This is storage of street art Vantaa, and at other side we have our Laine. Every organization in Myyrmäki area can borrow here tables, festival tables and other things that they need when they are having events.
We are doing some renovation now because we are going to be one of the best jazz clubs in Finland.
Yes.
Yeah.
Main idea of Myyrmäki-liike is that we are going to bring together people, different people in Myyrmäki area, different ages and from different backgrounds. Downstairs we have one Somali organization and we have elder people here. Also here in Myyrmäki-liike we have 2 radio stations. CFM is one and FinFM is another radio station which is now working here at Myyrmäki-liike. And one newspaper, New York Times, which is local newspaper here in Myyrmäki. Today here is working about 100 people, mainly at working times but also in evenings, and we have some big bands which are training here and rock bands and that kind of music groups also training at evening times and very large spectrum of things what people are doing here in Myyrmäki-liike. It's very important to bring people together working with things what are very what they like, what they are important for themselves, and it can be art or it can be hobbies or it can be own company and that kind of things. And when people are working together, they will be proud of the city, they will be proud of the area where they are living. And this Myyrmäki-liike is part of this movement.
2022, it will be my 10th year as an activist. So it started by reading an article from a philosopher saying that Brussels, on the level of public space and mobility, was going way too slow, especially compared to the Nordic cities. And he kind of called for a protest with sandwiches, claiming that at that time was an urban highway, accommodating 30,000 cars per day, driving through the heart of Europe. And then I made a Facebook event for some friends, and it exploded. So I invited 5 people to a closed Facebook group, and I had to add, after 1 hour, 2,000 plus people. And then I knew something was bubbling, and I still have goosebumps when I talk about it. And the first picnic, we had, I think, plus 2,000 people present. And we also thought, let's send a press release. And by chance, it was picked up by Chinese newspapers, Colombian, Mexican. So that's where it started for me. And then we did a whole other range of activism urban activism in public space, basically reclaiming space from cars for people. So roads, but also squares that weren't real squares anymore. With quite some success, because in 5 years' time we managed to really push through 4 major dossiers in Brussels, and this kind of gave us a boost. And then we thought, why not start small NGO? And in the beginning we were doing mostly pop-up actions with a mobile baton with the kids, and we saw that this was really something we liked. And then also by chance we got involved in European projects. And that's where we really found the cross-section of what we loved. So the cross-section of activism, placemaking, but also non-formal education. How can we teach or show young people what the city is about, so they can self be a part of this co-creation of the city? And this is actually what we're really focusing on now, how to involve young people in city making.
Bram Dewolfs mentioned an important word: education. We want to make Nordic city making into a movement that empowers future city makers. This is why we work closely with different institutions of education. Among our content partners are Aalto University, Urban Academy, Aalto Executive Education, and Metropolia University of Applied Sciences. To give an example of how we collaborate, this year we have connected to the Aalto University Urban Studies program. The students have concentrated for half a year on the neighborhood of Myyrmäki. The results of their work are presented during Nordic City Making Week in a form of an open masterclass in front of international experts, local decision makers, and residents. This will surely be a feedback session like no other. Education is also something that is deeply connected to the Nordics. We invite thinkers and researchers to discuss the values that Nordic cities are built on and what might be the challenges we should face together. Let's hear the thoughts of some of the experts who will join the week.
I think we have similar challenges in climate change in general. Of course, when we think about countries like Denmark or Norway, very different in a way, what problems they are dealing with in Nordic countries. But it's funny, I found that even though when you think about housing policies and issues like that, you have a little bit of different interpretation, a way of doing it, even though there is a common ground in there. But I think it's also that you learn from each other. And I think that there is this between the Nordic countries that you all the time are sort of monitoring what the others are doing in a way, to sort of, if there's something what they developed that we could implement, or maybe they are interested in something what we do, and so on. So I think in a manner of challenges, that when you think about challenges, they are similar, but there are these differences, so we can have a pool of different kind of ideas that can bounce to each other and sort of create something totally new also.
Thank you very much for your contribution to the phenomena, and actually it carries a lot of concern. It carries aspects of integration. It carries aspects of city branding and the image of the city, the relation. Well, as you see, I am an insider myself. I am an immigrant, if you like, to Finland. I arrived here maybe first time 1995. And because actually I was seeking certain services as an immigrant with specific requirement, be it in my grocery shopping or even when I visit the mosque to pray, I saw gradually the changes happening at certain places, because I visited them when they were very shy, 2 or 1 shops. And then I saw also when the mainstream independent retail start to decline and disappear and leaving a lot of premises empty. And then I saw again the wave of clustering, of the agglomeration formation by many ethnic retailers, diverse activities, and the diverse trades and services. So I started to think, actually, for me, in the age of cities, 1 decade or 2 decades, like a couple of weeks in our life, and the formation was very obvious. It was very dynamic, and dynamic by meaning that some even of these retailers start to be resituate and replace their locations. So I for myself as an architect and a planner and a human, actually, a city user, I think that I have observed, not only myself, but maybe others, I have seen something which is very interesting to study, how it was, why it happened, and actually the pluses, what kind of spillover it gives to its surroundings, locality, and so forth. This is the relation. It happens like that by practicing, if you like. Yes.
I think it's important to acknowledge the problems that arise and that we actually discuss them, and we try to work together to solve them best that we can. I think the worst thing we can do is to ignore that there are challenges that come from growing. But again, even so, the answer can never be stop growing, and it could never be to stop urbanization, because we still want to live in an open, tolerant country where people get to live wherever they want. And in Sweden, for example, approximately 90% of those that move to another region are in the age group 18 to 35. And they seem to want to live in these kind of places. The majority of that group seem to want to live in those places. So do we want to stop that somehow? No, that would never be the answer. But at the same time, as said, yes, it does come with challenges and it does come with problems, and these things we need to acknowledge, and these things we need to address and discuss and try to solve the best we can.
We're coming to the end of our Welcome CityMakers session, but this is not the end of today's program. In the afternoon, our main partner NCC is hosting a webinar called Rakennetaan yhdessä, Let's Build Together. It discusses cross-sectoral collaboration. And in the evening, we will have a world premiere, the first Nordic CityMaking book club with Richard Sennett and Pablo Senra. To keep up with Nordic CityMaking Week, you can go to our website and follow us on social media. And you can also sign up for Nordic CityMaking Week events in November. All events are free of charge, and you can join them both online and on site. So, as it says on our website, we celebrate cities and the people who make them. Thank you for watching, and hope to meet you soon.